What's happening, science freaks? Who's ready to get really small? I'm talking atomic scale small. I mean smaller than a virus, or even a strand of DNA. We're going to be looking at individual atoms. That's the power of the electron microscope. These uber high-tech instruments let us explore a world so tiny, it makes the Ant-Man movies look like they're taking place in a dang stadium. Imagine shrinking down to the size of a speck of dust. The world you once knew suddenly looks completely alien. Surfaces that once seemed smooth reveal mind-bending patterns and textures invisible to the naked eye. This hidden realm has been unveiled thanks to the power of microscopes that let us explore materials at the smallest scales like never before. From viruses to metals to electronic circuits, scientists can map new atomic landscapes that underpin our world. Now, before we dive into how these electron scopes achieve their insane zoom levels, let's do a quick refresher on microscopes in general. Your classic light microscope, you know, that one from high school biology. They use light and lenses to magnify stuff. It's good for checking out cells, bacteria, boogers, that sort of thing. But to see even smaller details in the nano-world, you'll need fancier doodads like probe microscopes that drag a tiny stylus over surfaces. Or what electron microscopes do, shooting off beams of electrons instead of light to pull off seemingly impossible feats of magnification. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how those electron scopes work. Now, in case you're wondering why one would go through the hassle of using an electron beam to look at stuff, well, light microscopes are great for seeing things down to a few hundred nanometers, but things on the atomic scale are so small, they require a bag of new tricks to be seen. The advantage of electrons is their incredibly small wavelengths compared to visible light photons. Thanks to their incredible velocities, electrons have wavelengths over 100,000 times shorter than visible light photons. This means they can pick up on details way too small for light to detect without getting totally blurred and diffracted away. Because of this, electron microscopes can discern angstrom features that would be hopelessly blurred by the longer wavelengths of light-based techniques. This ability to see at the atomic scale is what gives them unparalleled vision in the nano-world's uncharted landscapes. Hey there, before we move on, if you're enjoying this video and love learning about new things, we sure would appreciate it if you'd like, comment, and subscribe. It lets us know what you like, what you hate, and what we can improve on. That way we can be sure to deliver the best content possible. Alright, I've said my piece, back to the video. Of all the microscope technologies, electron microscopes provide the most powerful magnification capable of seeing individual atoms. The basic concept of how these work is to accelerate a beam of electrons to near light speeds, then use the magnetic lenses to focus the beam onto the sample. As the electrons interact with the atoms in the sample, they scatter in ways that imprint an image into the beam itself. This subtle image is then magnified millions of times by other lenses and projected onto an imaging sensor. Basically like having a camera with angstrom-level resolution. By using electrons with their incredibly short wavelengths instead of light, resolutions down to the size of atoms can be achieved, giving an astonishing view of materials at the smallest scales. At the heart of electron microscopes lies the electron source, or the electron gun, which generates the electron beam used for imaging. The most common type is the thermomionic source. It works by using an electric current to heat up a metal filament, typically tungsten or lanthanum hexaboride. This heat gives the metal's electrons enough energy to escape from the filament's surface into a vacuum, creating a beam. For higher resolutions, many TEMs use a field emission gun instead. Here, a strong electric field is applied to a sharp tungsten tip, which tears electrons free by a quantum tunneling effect. By avoiding heating and precisely controlling the electron beam, field emission sources achieve higher brightness and smaller crossover diameters for improved spatial resolution down to the atomic scale. Of course, none of the spectacular atomic imaging would be possible without the masterful engineering which underlies every part of an electron microscope. I'm talking state-of-the-art electron sources, ultra-precise electromagnetic lenses, aberration correctors, detectors, and more. We start with the electron source, or gun, that produces the beam, such as a heated filament or field emission tip. The beam then passes through the condenser lens, which focuses the electrons into a tight, parallel stream aimed at the sample. Apertures filter out scattered electrons for a clearer beam. After transmitting through the sample, the objective lens forms the initial magnified image. It's considered the microscope's optical heart, limiting the ultimate resolution. Finally, the projection lens applies additional magnification of up to 1 million before the image is then captured on sensors and cameras. Other components include things like vacuum pumps, detectors, and electronic support operations. Alright, with that out of the way, let's break down the two main types of these electronic microscopes, starting with the Scanning Electron Microscope, or SEM. This one is a multitasker when it comes to imaging. It images the surfaces of bulk samples by raster scanning a focused beam of electrons across the area of interest. As the beam interacts with the atoms in the top few nanometers, it releases secondary electrons that are then detected to map out the 3D topography of that surface in outstanding detail. Seriously, we're talking images so crisp, you'll see individual hairs of an ant's abdomen. This allows SEMs to produce striking three-dimensional images of sample surfaces at extremely high magnifications of up to 1 million times. From biological structures like insect bodies to intricate computer chips, SEMs reveal the nano-world in remarkable clarity. They're also highly versatile instruments. Additional detectors allow them to identify elemental compositions by analyzing the X-rays given off. Specialized SEMs can image samples in liquid or gaseous environments, and focused ion beam modules can precisely cut into samples to expose cross-sections for analysis. If you want to non-destructively map a surface down to the nanometer, these are your scopes. Scanning electron microscopes have been indispensable across many fields of science and technology, from biology to materials science to semiconductor manufacturing. The last of those things I'm sure many of you are very happy to hear about. Now, as impressive as SEMs are, if you really want to stare atoms dead in their little nuclei, you gotta turn to the Transmission Electronic Microscope, or TEM. These scopes pass that electron beam straight through an ultra-thin sample to map out the internal crystal lattice structure. As the electrons get scattered while transmitting, their paths get bent and deflected into patterns determined by the positions of every single atom they encounter. This pattern of transmitted electrons imprints an image onto the beam itself. The TEM then uses electromagnetic lenses to focus and massively magnify this subtle projection image up to 50 million times onto a sensor. With resolutions down to 0.5 angstroms, TEMs can discern individual atom positions and defects within crystal lattices. By combining with spectroscopic techniques, TEMs can also map out the composition of elements within samples. This ultrastructural and analytical data is invaluable for fields like material science, nanotechnology, biology, and more. Within an electron microscope, magnification occurs through multiple stages of electromagnetic lenses. The first stage is the objective lens, which magnifies the subtle electron image around 50 times. But it's the quality of this initial magnification that dictates the instrument's maximum resolution. Optical aberrations in the objective lens become the limiting factor in resolving angstrom-scale atomic details. So while other lenses can magnify further, any flaws from the objective magnification are compounded. To neutralize aberrations, the latest TEMs use sophisticated multipole corrector lenses with the objective. After the objective magnification, the projector lens takes over. Using several lens elements, they can enlarge the electron image over 1 million times more onto the sensor. As you can imagine, the quality control when making these lenses is absolutely insane. Even a mere fraction of the quality control that goes into these things would be appreciated in most other markets, don't you think? And there you have it. From uncovering new catalyst materials to inspecting next-gen chips to even surveying the structural biology of viruses, electron scopes provide the most revealing glimpse yet into the bizarre, ultra-small realm of atoms and molecules. And with their capabilities continually evolving, Who knows how deep these little big scopes could plunge into nature's subatomic wonderland? Exploring the subatomic universe might seem like science fiction, but electron microscopes put that power into the hands of today's researchers. With their alien vision of angstrom-level details, electron microscopes are undertaking secrets of the miniature universe in ways that'll make you question reality itself. Let's frickin' go! If mind-blowing technology is your jam, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We'll keep bringing you cutting-edge science and engineering that will keep you questioning reality. But for now, there's tons more where this came from, and you can check it out in our next video.